At 9:05 a.m. Eastern Time this morning, Donald Trump logged on to social media and he wrote something so out of bounds that Chief Justice John Roberts of the Supreme Court had to issue a public rebuke. In his post, Donald Trump raged against the federal judge who blocked his summary expulsion of Venezuelan migrants. U.S. District Judge James Boasberg writing, quote, "This judge, like many of the crooked judges I am forced to appear before, should be impeached," impeached in all capitals. There it is. We've heard it from Elon Musk, now from the mouth of the President of the United States. Let's not mince words. Trump is calling on Republicans in Congress to rid him of a federal judge who ruled against him. That is what autocrats do. They take control of the judiciary and then they shape it to protect their ambitions rather than those of the people. Like the El Salvador strongman Nayib Bukele, who calls himself the world's coolest dictator. Last month, Elon Musk praised Bukele's purge of El Salvador's Supreme Court on social media, writing, quote, "Unfortunately, as President Bukele eloquently articulates, there is no other option. We must impeach to save democracy," end quote. The background to Trump's post today is that MAGA caucus members in the House of Representatives have introduced articles of impeachment against 3 federal judges who have ruled against Trump. We'll talk about this in a minute because impeachment of judges is a real thing and there's a real reason for it, and this isn't it. Judge Boasberg would be the 4th judge targeted if and when the Texas Republican Congressman Brandon Gill files articles of impeachment against him, as he has vowed to do. And that could be why Chief Justice Roberts felt that he had to step in and deliver a rare and extraordinary statement today. Quote, "For more than 2 centuries, it has been established that impeachment is not an appropriate response to disagreement concerning a judicial decision. The normal appellate review process exists for that purpose," end quote. To be clear, Donald Trump doesn't have the votes to wage a politically motivated purge of America's federal judiciary, which would require a 2/3 vote of the Senate. But Donald Trump has a proven track record of whipping up supporters against judges who've ruled against him, both as a criminal defendant and during his presidencies. Just ask the federal judge, Tanya Chutkan, whose D.C. home was swatted when she presided over Donald Trump's federal prosecution for trying to subvert the 2020 presidential election. Or the Manhattan judge, Arthur Engoron, whose Long Island home received a bomb threat before he issued a roughly $500 million civil verdict against Donald Trump for business fraud. Or MAGA turning on the Trump-appointed Justice Amy Coney Barrett, who, despite being sufficiently conservative, did not appear to be sufficiently loyal to Donald Trump. But the federal courts refused to be intimidated. Today, Judge Boasberg demanded answers from the Trump administration to some very simple but specific questions about why the administration did not obey his order to stop last week's deportation flights, including, quote, 1, what time did the plane take off from the United States and from where? 2, what time did it leave U.S. airspace? 3, what time did it land in which foreign country, including if it made more than one stop? And 4, what time were individuals subject solely to the proclamation transferred out of U.S. custody? Finally, 5, simple question, how many people were aboard solely on the basis of the proclamation? None of these are complicated questions. The judge has given the government until noon tomorrow to answer them. Judge Boasberg has scheduled an in-person hearing on the matter for Friday. Judge Boasberg has shown he's not willing to accept the Trump shuffle, the shifting answers about why the administration did not obey the judge's order on Saturday to turn planes carrying hundreds of Venezuelan migrants back to the United States. Now, the green shoot here is, and look, we're all looking for green shoots if we can find them. The green shoot is that the Trump administration, I suppose, could have said, "We do not obey your order. Try and stop us." That would get us into, or at least awfully close to, a constitutional crisis. But the Trump administration didn't say that. For now, at least, the Trump administration is, in fact, participating in the judicial process, and the process continues. That said, here's what Trump said when asked tonight on Fox News about Chief Justice Roberts' comments.
What's your reaction to the court's stepping in to make a statement here.
Well, he didn't mention my name in the statement. I just saw it quickly. He didn't mention my name, but many people have called for his impeachment, the impeachment of this judge. I don't know who the judge is, but he's radical left. He was Obama appointed. And he actually said we shouldn't be able to take criminals, killers, murderers, horrible, the worst people, gang members, gang leaders, that we shouldn't be allowed to take them out of our country. Well, that's a presidential job.
So first of all, that's not what the judge said. The judge didn't say we shouldn't be able to do that. And yes, it is a presidential job, but the president has to follow the law. Or at least that's what we've all been led to believe all these years. The Supreme Court did muddy the waters on that issue with its unorthodox ruling about presidential immunity last year. But as the very conservative New York Post editorial board pointed out to Elon Musk about this very case 2 days ago, quote, "Sorry, Elon, even deporting illegal gangbangers must heed the rule of law," end quote. But Judge Boasberg isn't the only federal judge doing what federal judges are supposed to do. This afternoon, another federal judge issued a major blow to the Elon Musk capture of the federal government. Judge Theodore Zhuang ordered Elon Musk and Doge to restore USAID's operations on pain of contempt, writing, quote, "The court finds that the defendant's actions taken to shut down USAID on an accelerated basis, including its apparent decision to permanently close USAID headquarters without the approval of a duly appointed USAID officer, likely violated the United States Constitution in multiple ways, and that these actions harmed the public interest because they deprived the public's elected representatives in Congress of their constitutional authority to decide whether, when, and how to close down an agency created in Congress," end quote. Lest Elon Musk believed that his order to restore USAID was optional, the judge continued, quote, "Violations of this preliminary injunction shall subject defendants and all other persons bound by this order to all applicable penalties, including contempt of court," end quote. The judge found, in essence, that everything Elon Musk and Doge has been doing has existed outside the Constitution. How a government agency is created and or closed down, how its leaders must be appointed with the advice and consent of Congress. Trump is pushing boundaries in both the clear-cut ways, like obeying or disobeying a judge's order, and in less defined areas of law. In just the past few weeks, Trump invoked a wartime statute against a Venezuelan gang, even though there's no war. The Trump administration sent agents to arrest a Columbia University student and activist against the Israel-Gaza war, a green card holder, without a warrant, and they flew him to Louisiana, where he's in custody, in search of a friendly jurisdiction to quietly expel him for his opinions that are not in line with those of the administration. What's important here are not his opinions. It is that he has been charged with no crime. Trump deported a mixed immigration status family to Mexico, which included a 10-year-old girl, an American citizen, who is fighting brain cancer, depriving her of medical care in the process. This is Trump testing what the courts will tolerate and what the public will tolerate. That America's first criminal president would put us on the road to a constitutional crisis probably shouldn't come as much of a surprise, but it's still wrong. And the sheer velocity of Trump's recklessness with and disregard for the law must be stopped. In his first term, it was the velocity of the nonsense that was novel, from alternative facts to Sharpie Gate to the wall that Mexico never built. We'd never had nonsense spread with the speed of light before. But that was still mostly about words. Now it's all action. Action that must be interrupted. Out of power, Democrats can't make laws or hold official hearings. The midterms are 18 months away. That's why Democrats are holding town halls in Republican districts. The courts are doing, or at least trying hard to do, their constitutional duty. And now it's time for people to do theirs. Whatever that looks like. Protest, speak up. Don't let Donald Trump reach escape velocity on the rule of law.